Hello, and welcome to our February webinar, Together We Thrive, the Power of Community. I'm Donna Greening, Parkinson Canada's Education and Program Innovation Coordinator. Parkinson Canada acknowledges that we are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. We respect and affirm the inherent and treaty rights of all Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to live, work, and learn here. We recognize the need for programs, advocacy, and research by and for Indigenous people living with and affected by Parkinson's, and commit to growing partnerships with Indigenous leaders to develop our understanding and support. To access closed captioning, you can click on the CC Captions button and then click on Show Subtitle. Since this month's webinar format is a bit different than usual, there will not be a Q&A period. There's no need to take any notes during the webinar. We will be emailing everyone a link to our webinar recording, along with hyperlinks to any resources that are mentioned. When this webinar ends, please take a moment to fill out our survey that we use to ensure that we're delivering content that's relevant to the Parkinson's community. Now, let's get started. Living a life with Parkinson's comes with its own unique set of challenges, but it is still possible to lead a fulfilling and meaningful life with the right support and mindset. Participating in community activities can provide a sense of purpose, combat isolation and stigma, and foster connections with others who understand your journey. Joining support groups, engaging in local or virtual Parkinson's programs, or volunteering allows you to share experiences and build relationships that can uplift and inspire you. You'll also be a better informed and more engaged participant in your own healthcare decisions and plans. Equally important is creating a strong circle of care, including family, friends, and Parkinson's programs and healthcare providers. These individuals can offer emotional, practical, and medical support to help you manage your symptoms and maintain your independence. And don't forget that you too can be a support for others on their own Parkinson's journey, offering a new sense of purpose and community. By embracing community involvement and cultivating reliable support networks, you hold the power to enhance your physical and mental well-being, focus on what brings you joy, and navigate Parkinson's with resilience and hope. We'll be hearing from Barbara Salsberg Mathews, who will be discussing how her recent endeavors are helping her build community and bring meaning to her own life with Parkinson's. Some of Barbara's accomplishments include a viral TikTok dance challenge, her new illustrated book, What Parkinson's Feels Like, and a class she's developed that teaches other people with Parkinson's how to use mime as a therapeutic tool to help better manage their symptoms. But before we meet Barbara, let's meet some members from the Parkinson's community as they share their experiences, highlighting how building personal, community, and professional connections has significantly improved their own physical and mental well-being. Then later in the webinar, we'll be meeting some more members of our community who'll also be sharing their stories with us. So now let's meet our first guests. We'll start with Brian and his wife, Lori. Then we'll meet spouses, Nora, Lee, and Wayne, and then Manon and her mother, Carmen. And please note that Manon prearranged for her mom to take over speaking for her. We'll then meet friends, Shane and Gary, who both have Parkinson's, as well as Blake and Neil from our peer mentorship program. Welcome, everyone.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease on December the 5th, 2018, after noticing a loss of strength and muscle control on the right side of my body. And I lost my sense of smell back in 2009, but thought that was due to my heart disease diagnosis and emergency triple bypass I had in April of 2007. Therefore, Parkinson's disease was not my first dealing with a serious health challenge. My wife, Lori, had already had the in sickness and in health part of our wedding vows down pat. As I mentioned at the time of my bypass surgery, my goal was to walk my 3 daughters down the aisle, which I did. But now, with Parkinson's disease in my life, my focus has shifted to leaving a legacy for my grandchildren and to leave a better journey for those diagnosed with Parkinson's after me. My mission is to become an expert generalist on Parkinson's. By attending webinars, listening to podcasts, and participating in learning opportunities, this is so I can share my knowledge with others and advocate for the Parkinson's community. I see it as an investment. I would not invest 24 hours into having a bad day, so a positive attitude is critical. That means living in the now and bringing the future of the unknown into my life, into my daily routine, and trying to leave others feeling better than how I found them. Together, we can make a difference by fostering understanding, making connections, and offering support and advocating for this growing community. My volunteer roles advance our mission as well as my own quest to be that expert generalist. Each role contributes uniquely to my knowledge, advocacy, and ability to inspire others. This year, I proudly joined the Parkinson's Canada Parkinson's Advisory Council, otherwise known as PAC. The council provides insights, shapes key initiatives, and ensures that the voices of people living with Parkinson's, as well as their caregivers, are at the forefront of our decision-making. Caregivers are the unsung heroes in this journey, offering unwavering support, love, and strength to those navigating a Parkinson's diagnosis. Whether it's assisting diagnosed individuals or equipping caregivers with tools to manage the challenge they face, PAC's mission is to create a strong, compassionate network that uplifts everyone affected by Parkinson's. I am also a peer-to-peer mentor. This is for newly diagnosed individuals. I help them navigate the emotional and physical challenges of Parkinson's by learning about the diverse ways the disease may affect them. Being a mentor also enhances my ability to provide empathetic, real-world advice. I'm a member of Parkinson Canada's Wellness Advisory Council. As a team, we manage and audit the annual Care Fund grant applications, ensuring that resources are allocated effectively, directly improving the lives of those living with Parkinson's and their caregivers. My role as a lived experience reviewer for research grant applications keeps me informed about a cutting-edge research and innovation, furthering my understanding of the science behind Parkinson's while influencing its future. I also participate in Parkinson's programs like improv and chair yoga. These activities demonstrate how creativity and physical wellness can play a vital role in managing Parkinson's symptoms and improving quality of life. When the opportunities arise, I participate in research and clinical trials. As both a contributor and a recipient of emerging research, I'm doing everything I can to help advance Parkinson's research, and I also get some unique insights into critical developments. In my community, here in Durham region, I lead social workshops where members of the Parkinson's community can connect and share experiences in a safe and supportive environment. This direct interaction keeps me grounded and inspired to stay resilient and motivated as I witness the strength and perseverance of those around me. By volunteering, I'm not just expanding my expertise, I'm actively shaping the better future for those living with Parkinson's. Pictured here are my 4 grandchildren, Landon, age 10, Emily, age 2, Amelia, age 1, and Rosie, 3.5. I want to inspire them and others by showing them that Parkinson's will never define me. It is a part of my story, but it's not the whole story. I'll continue to fight, learn, and share with hope that my journey will be an inspiration to others. I don't walk this journey alone, and there's someone else I want you to tell you about. Over the course of our 41 years of marriage, my wife Lori has been my rock and my greatest supporter. We met as childhood sweethearts at the ages of 15 and 13. And together we have built a beautiful life filled with love and 3 wonderful daughters named Megan, Julie, and Kelly. And now those 4 precious grandchildren in the photo I shared earlier. Lori's caregiving role began long before Parkinson's diagnosis in 2018. In April 2007, when I unexpectedly required emergency triple bypass surgery, she stepped up without hesitation. Lori's caregiving role began long before my Parkinson's diagnosis in late 2018. In April 2007, when I unexpectedly required emergency triple bypass surgery, she stepped up without hesitation. Her unwavering strength and love helped me through one of the most challenging periods of my life. And thanks to her support, I made a full recovery, which allowed me to fulfill one of my great dreams, walking each of my daughters down the aisle on their wedding days. The first was in November 2011. The second was in July 2018. And finally, after the challenges of COVID, number 3 was in June of 2022. When Parkinson's entered our lives, Lori once again rose to the occasion as my caregiver extraordinaire. Her compassion, resilience, and tireless dedication have been nothing short of extraordinary. She's not only helped me face the diagnosis with strength and grace, but she's also shown me the true meaning of in sickness and in health. I am endlessly grateful for her love and support, which continue to inspire me every single day.
My role as caregiver started out as simply being there to listen and to learn about the diagnosis. Over time, it's evolved into helping manage daily tasks, attending doctor's appointments, and finding ways to adapt to challenges Parkinson's has brought into our lives. My daily responsibilities include assisting with physical needs. Brian does not have the coordination or stamina to do the things around the house like he did before, like yard work, snow shoveling, and day-to-day maintenance. I do what I can, but sometimes we need to reach out to other family members or friends for assistance. Over time, I've learned to carve out small moments in the day for myself, whether it's a walk, reading, a swim at the local pool, or connecting with friends. I also remind myself that asking for help is okay, whether it's from family, friends, or support groups. You can't pour from an empty cup. For me, the combination of formal and informal support has been a key. For Parkinson's, specific organizations provide valuable tools, but just as important are the friends and family who have stepped up to help. Having a network you can lean on makes all the difference in the world. If someone is starting their own caregiving journey, it's important to educate yourself about Parkinson's so you can better understand the challenges ahead. Build a solid support system of family, friends, and professionals, and don't hesitate to use resources like websites for Parkinson's Canada or the Michael J. Fox Foundation, along with support groups or caregiver services. Most importantly, don't forget to take care of yourself. You can't help someone else if you're running on empty.
I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's for 34 years this year, and it's been a bit of a journey. Without Wayne by my side, I don't know that I would have survived it as well as I have. The hardest part has been getting used to being slow. I hate being slow. But with Wayne's patience, I've managed to adapt. And his commitment to me and to our functioning has grown over the years. The relationship has developed as he's taken on more of my responsibilities and more of my care. I've had the DBS surgery, and that has been a real benefit because of the improvement in my mobility, but also in the stopping of dyskinesia, which was very, very destructive. But he helped me make those decisions. We were involved in a support group that had a number of people that had DBS, and we were able to go and visit them, talk to them. And Wayne has always stood by me. He's been the one I've depended on. And he makes it all worthwhile.
So we've it's been trying at times, there's no doubt about it, just as the Norley's mobility has decreased and she's now in a wheelchair. But it's all very worthwhile. We are really blessed to have had the time together that we have, because when she was first diagnosed, the thought was she wouldn't reach 70. And we are both well past 70. So we are very fortunate, and we do enjoy life together. There's always lots to laugh about, and I make sure that we have company on a regular basis for meals, so that we are staying involved not only with friends, but with our support group. And we stay involved with our church too. And that has been very important to us over the 44 years we've been married.
Why was diagnosed with young onset at the Parkinson in about 13 years ago, at the age of roughly 27 years old. This disease is very challenging. And yeah, most of my activity ready. So may I pick up over here, because Mano has a speech impairment. So when she's talking, Mano talks about most of her activities, such as cooking, exercise, shopping. She does all of these activities in the morning, because this is when it aligns with her medication. Her medication becomes effective. And for the household maintenance, Mano has a cleaning lady, and that comes every 2 weeks. And see, if we speak in terms of challenges with the Parkinson, so we notice it's her speech, but she does manage to get understood, but it's way longer, obviously, properly. And nowadays, the good thing is that, we do a lot of things by text message or by email. So that's pretty much the way the world is these days. So it's good for Mano, so it's one good aspect. People don't want to talk anymore over the phone or whatever. So Mano has stiffness and slowness of movement with various symptoms, but that she deals with, and she lives alone and in her apartment, and my apartment is right in front of hers. So we're neighbors. So she has an emergency, she calls me, and I come quickly, So this is a good living arrangement, and that suits both of us. So she can live independently, and so I'm a listening ears for her as well. And so we have a close relationship and good partnership. So finally, it's a very supportive relationship, and it's very beneficial for her well-being. So as a mother, hey, I want to share my stories, and in the hope that it will help others, since really more people get an early onset of Parkinson's, So it's a big struggle. It was a big struggle to learn that Mano had that. And because it was quite intense, because young people are affected very differently. They think their hopes are a little bit shattered. No university, no this, no children. So you have to totally switch your mind. So that's what happened over here. So she was quite sick, and so I knew it was serious. But the one thing I do want to mention is because her father suddenly passed away a few years prior. So I felt helplessness. I felt alone. So when her diagnostic arrived, and it was really devastating. So to say the least, and I was filled with lots of emotions, so and worries about her future, and knowing that Parkinson impacts various aspects of your life. So it's really heartbreaking, really. And but through it all, my beautiful Manon, she has shown an incredible strength, and she does give me strength. I'm gonna say that to you, and courage, and she always kept her smile. So I guess I would say resilience is the key, and love help us navigate through all these tough times. And finally, I'll say that despite her many challenges, Manu is pursuing her passion of helping others and building a network with various Parkinson community, and especially with Parkinson Canada. She's quite involved. So I'm proud of Manon's determination and in the face of adversity, and I'm committed to be by her side every step of the way, and one day at a time. So we enjoy. This is what we do. We enjoy every day. So
Shane and I first met each other about 12, 14 years ago at the Canadian Tire Distribution Center in Toronto. We both worked there. Shane was retiring and he was coming around to say goodbye to everybody. I asked Shane what he was going to do now after his retirement started. And he said, well, the real reason is I'm leaving is because I've got Parkinson's. I was diagnosed 3 years ago. So at that moment, I quickly threw my hands in my pocket because of the tremors I was going through. This was the start of my diagnosis for myself. And it was about 3-4 months later, Shane had found out that I was not having a good time, and he reached out to me. We reconnected, and we've been pretty well close friends for the last 10 years now.
Yeah, it was quite a earth-shattering moment when I had a chance to meet Gary. Even though we'd worked together, there's been days we'd be talking together, and I realized that what both of us were carrying in our minds. Gary wondering how he's going to live with the symptoms he was dealing with, me wondering what my future is going to be like. We had both of those challenges in our life, but at the same time, we built a very strong relationship and a friendship, which seemed to help us when we were struggling later on. When I eventually came back into the warehouse to say hi to the guys and talk to Gary, and we found out more about each other, it just blossomed our friendship even stronger. And Gary was a fellow who loved to research, look things up. I didn't have the time for that in my mind, and unfortunately, I wish I had, because one thing I learned being first diagnosed is you don't always get all the answers you'd like to have, or you don't even know what the future is going to hold. And Gary was able to let me know these are the things that are going on in our lives, and it helped me an awful lot. So I'm very pleased that we were able to build this friendship. It was something that, and has been something that's been very close with both. And I value it very much.
I think one of the things that Shane taught me was about a lot of positive things, but there's also a big humor part to all this stuff with Parkinson's if you allow it in. So he said, basically, once you are diagnosed or going through, you have to change your wardrobe, and that is, you have to start wearing plaid shirts and flannel plaid shirts. So I went out and switched all my wardrobe over for that stuff. But we've always been in touch with each other and kept our friendship going for more than 10 years now.
So if we close off, I can't do it now. Sorry.
So yeah, so we with the rock steady boxing and other things, we've always been in touch. We try to meet up at least once or twice a year. It's getting more challenging. I don't drive anymore. Shane stopped driving. So trying to keep up with each other gets a little more of an issue, but we're determined to make this friendship keep going on, and we're going to be there for each other always.
I couldn't say it any better than the way Gary is always. He's very eloquent in how he says things and how it comes across. And I'm blessed with this friendship. Blessed with it when the times I was struggling. And up until Rocksteady Boxing, I didn't know anything about Parkinson's. That was 3 years after being diagnosed. Really didn't know much about my disease and didn't know where to turn to. And when you have a friend in your life who's able to research things and put you at ease, everything's gonna be okay.
And we both get it.
We both get it.
We both understand what each other's going through.
I connected with Blake in August last year through the National Peer Support Program about 5 months after my initial diagnosis. I found it super helpful to connect with someone like Blake who had a similar or has a similar lived experience. You know, we're the same age, we both have kids, we're in the midst of our professional careers, and we both have young onset Parkinson's disease. There's not many people who check all those boxes, and having someone to speak to about that is super helpful for me as part of my care team.
Yeah, I think that Neil has said a mouthful in the fact that having someone or knowing that you're not alone can make a huge difference no matter what you're dealing with in life. Sometimes we feel isolated. We feel like, you know, I'm the only one suffering through this, but to know that there's other people out there that share your experience and you can really relate to on a level that someone without the disease can relate to. There can be a lot of intrusive thoughts and stuff like that. So having somebody who really knows what it's like to live through this can make all the world a difference for sure.
Wow, those are such great attitudes that we've seen from our first set of guests. It's so heartwarming to see the humor, humility, and mutual respect in each of the relationships. We'll be meeting some more members of our Parkinson's community in a little while, but first I'd like to introduce everyone to Barbara Salsberg Mathews. Barbara studied mime in Paris and had a touring mime company. After earning degrees from the Ontario College of Art and the Ontario Institute for Studies and Education, Barbara taught visual and dramatic arts in high school for over 25 years. A lifelong advocate for the arts and an inspiring force in the fight against Parkinson's, she's dedicated her life to enriching her community through creativity and compassion. After being diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2020, Barbara transformed a personal challenge into a platform for helping others. She blended her background in mime with therapeutic techniques to support those living with Parkinson's and created Mime Over Mind, a Parkinson's wellness program that's gained international recognition and is now part of the University of Guelph's new Bachelor of Creative Arts, Health and Wellness degree. Barbara is also on Canadian Open Parkinson Network, or C-Open's Parkinson Community Advisors Committee. In 2023, Barbara's tweet of a video of her dancing went viral within the global Parkinson's community, evolving into a PD Avengers awareness campaign called the Dopamine Dance Against PD. One of her latest initiatives is What Parkinson's Feels Like. With the help of Parkinson's Europe, she's developed descriptions of what Parkinson's feels like. She collected descriptions of what Parkinson's feels like from various people living with the condition and transformed these into a new book of illustrations. The book is available as a free ebook with donations accepted for Parkinson's Europe, Parkinson Canada, or PD Avengers, or you can get printed copies that can be purchased through Amazon. Barbara lives with her husband in Guelph, Ontario, where she does volunteer work and continues to make art. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. I am so honored to be here. And today I'm going to share my experiences with you as a person with Parkinson's. Well, as Donna mentioned, my background has been in education. I was a high school art and drama teacher and retired about 10 years ago. And prior to retiring, I started finding things were strange with my writing on the chalkboard. Everything was going downwards. I couldn't hold my hand up. And eventually, well, I was living the life. I had my children were launched. My husband and I were traveling, but those symptoms started appearing more and more often, and I couldn't ignore them. So I did go to a doctor because my hand was shaking a lot, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. And then he said, eventually I found out from a neurologist that I have Parkinson's disease. And that was in January 2020. And I think what might demonstrate how it impacted me is to see one of my paintings that I did before the symptoms showed themselves. So if you could put the slide up with the building. Yeah, slide 2. There. This was very traditional of what I was painting. I was very hyper realistic painting. So inside some of those windows, there's different things hiding, like some pussycats and an exotic dancer, and other interests. But I had trouble painting that sign. So I actually, well, you can stop sharing for a minute. Because I'll share with you what happened to me. When I looked at what I could do in the past, it depressed me. And I actually looked at a large painting. I started it for 2 years. I just couldn't do any more art. And I got quite depressed, feeling my happy places were evaporating around me one by one. But then I started playing around. I like to have fun. So I played with my food and I came up with a new art form. And let's see the next slide and you'll understand what I did with my food. There's Deli Dawn. I had fun. I took corn silk and put it in the hair, and you can see what it is, hard boiled eggs, and I decided to keep living. But let me go back for a second and talk about that diagnosis, and maybe you could put the slide down for a minute. Thank you. The diagnosis frankly shocked me. I was not expecting to hear you have Parkinson's disease. I was thinking I had an essential tremor, maybe a pinched nerve, but not Parkinson's disease. And it really ripped me apart. And I was alone with my neurologist. And by the time my husband came to pick me up, I said, "Get me out of here." And when we were alone in the car, I broke down and cried. Um, it really was a shock. And it took me a long time to come to accept this diagnosis. I had to rewrite my future. I finally made sense of this all by deciding I am not my disease. I'm a person with Parkinson's and I aim to live my life fully. In fact, I got furious at the disease. And I right then and there, I said, I'm going to make PD my bitch. And I'll show you, I'm going to be happy and fit, and I'm going to live my life and do good, help put smiles on other people's faces. And I started thinking about this, and my neurologist told me he could tell just by the way I walked that I had Parkinson's. And he explained that I was not moving my right arm, which I had not realized. He said my foot was dragging, my right foot was dragging, and I had terrible postures like that, and little facial expression. So these symptoms of Parkinson's disease, they stuck with me. So I started doing research. And I remember I was most inspired by a book by Dr. Dodge called The Brain's Way of Healing. And there's a chapter in that book called A Man Who Walks Off His Parkinsonian Symptoms, who paid close attention to the way he walked. And then he broke it down, and then he speeded it up, and he trained himself to walk normally. Well, in my youth, I was a professional mime artist. So I figured, this reminds me of when I learned the mime stationary walk. And let's see the next slide that will demonstrate that for you. Thank you. Well, I decided I'm going to change the way I move so that I look normal. And I faked it. And what I started to do was work with my posture. So I visualized swallowing a coat hanger. So just imagine a coat hanger. And I swallowed it, and immediately my shoulders went normal. They were corrected. And it helps me to have that picture in my mind. And I also used another image, and that was like a marionette string or a marionette wire. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to use that to hold my head up, to hold my body up. And I put it here in the crown of my head, pulled myself up, and I was standing nice and tall. And I thought, let's put that with my arm. And I visualized the string moving my arm that was not moving before when I walked. And many of these different images help me to appear normal. I also work with small and large motor memory and motor skills and motor memory, where I repeat something over and over mindfully, really focus on it. And then you can do it automatically. So I'm going to just ask for Donna to throw me a mime ball, just there, okay, and whoop, thank you. And I will show you motor memory with my eyes shut. So that's just my body learns and can reproduce this at will, which is fantastic if you want to override some of the Parkinson symptoms. Then I decided I'm going to take this mime not just to heal myself, but to help my PD brothers and sisters. So I started to develop a program, and I was very fortunate to work with the University of Guelph with a wonderful team of 3 researchers, Dr. Rebecca Barnstable, Dr. Kim Francis, and Dr. Lorianne Vallis. And the next slide will show my first class. I started training trainers at the university, so we'll see the slide. And when you look at the slide, take a look at the next one. We're holding peacock feathers, as we found that when people with Parkinson's can shift their focus, you can create a new neural pathway, and people are all focusing very hard on balancing that peacock feather, staring at the colorful top, and if they're able to walk across that room. Everybody's hand, when we were working with people with Parkinson's, stopped shaking. So that was pretty interesting. Let's see the next slide. And because the class was so successful at the 300 level, so we had the trainers I trained train the 400 level students, and they put together more research and development of the program. So that was great. And you could take the slide down. And I'll tell you about what's going on now, which is so exciting. Parkinson's Canada has just, I've been fortunate to have received a Care Fund grant. And with the funds, I'm working to put together a series of self-study free videos on Mime Over Mind that will be available on my YouTube channel in April for Parkinson's Awareness Month. I'm so excited about it because I can't be everywhere, but the tapes are there. So I'm most grateful to be being a change agent. And if you look at the next slide, this is something else I'm very passionate about. And research. Research gives me hope. So you see me on a spinning bike, and this was at the University of Guelph with the Parkinson Canada grant. And not only did the grant help inform others, researchers and care clinicians, but I became addicted to working out. I bought the spinning bike from the program, and other than a back injury that has nothing to do with Parkinson's, I ride it regularly. I feel very fortunate. And I'm also involved with different groups like COPN, Canadian Open Parkinson Network, and in Critical Path Institute in Arizona as well. So very rewarding. So if we could put that slide down for a minute. I also noticed that people treated me weirdly, strange, when I said, I have Parkinson's. I just say it matter of factly because it's part of what I'm going through. But then I felt they were not seeing me anymore. And I felt them looking, even occasionally looking at my hand. And I thought, look at my face. I'm here, I'm here. So I started to illustrate how I felt, and it came together as a book. So if we can see the next slide. And there's the picture of the book cover is, it's slide 5. Oh, okay, well, I'll talk about that. Yeah, so that's the book cover, and that's an unpredictable beast. Because with Parkinson's, you can't always predict what's going to happen to you. And then, so the person who came up with this image, the description is Carl Beach, who's in UK, and this seems to speak to many of us. And there is the other slide, if you could show that one represents what Parkinson's feels like to me, where every morning I have to take that wave, like that heavy mist, and push it off me. And I say, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do good. I'm going to have fun and make the day good. So that's started this book. And if you can take that slide down for a minute, there's Parkinson's Europe circulated the call, the shout out for people to submit descriptions of what PD meant for them. And we got some great powerful images. This next slide with the man pulling up the colorful sock, it deeply touched me. This is Dave Clark from Yorkshire, England, who is a co-host on a great podcast called Two Parkies in a Pod. I'm not sure there's a gray bar there, but if it can't be gone, that it's not the end of the world. What Dave said is that Parkinson's is like living in slow motion. And that really hit me hard, because sometimes when my cognitive is not right there, I can't think of the word, or I'm very slow moving. I think of this description because what Dave does is he looks for beauty. He even now he says he buys colorful socks because the hardest part of his day is trying to pull up his socks. But when he has such beautiful, colorful socks, it sets him in a good mood. So I started to resonate with the struggles of people with PD, especially my young onset PD brothers and sisters. So let's see the next slide here. And this is Caitlin Nagy. She's got the Pretty Dope Woman podcast, and she's amazing. She's had PD since she was 31 in 2014, and she writes, I become a werewolf every month. Parkinson's feels like I'm turning into a violent wild animal with dyskinesia making me thrash everywhere. Hormones making me cry and scream one moment and laugh the next. Then as I get my period, or you could say the full moon hits, everything goes back to normal. So I felt it was important to represent young women as well as having Parkinson's. On the next slide, there's a person walking through wet cement. And they wrote, this is Lisa Harris Murphy in Hawaii, when unmedicated or some days even medicated, Parkinson's feels like I'm walking through wet cement. Oh yes, I can very much relate to that. And the next slide shows a woman all tangled up in a million knots with muscles always fatigued and hurting her. This is by Deborah Milligan in Portland, Oregon, USA. And these last two pictures are interesting because of a physiotherapist. Oops, we can back up or maybe take the slide down. And I'll just share with you an anecdote that was told to me by a physiotherapist who said the person that she was trying to work with, a man with Parkinson's, had difficulty talking and also expressing where the physical problems were. And then he got the book, What Parkinson's Feels Like, and pointed to those two images, the man walking in wet cement and the woman with her body all tied up in knots. And suddenly they could communicate more effectively, and the physiotherapist was better able to target the training, the help for the gentleman for his Parkinson's disease. And it's important that we see ourselves represented when in the world with Parkinson's. It took a long time before my diagnosis was made, about 2 years, because I wasn't seeing myself out there. You might know the 5 stages of Parkinson's, and they often have men only. So I designed it with women, young women with different ethnicities. And that's a sneak preview on International Women's Day on March 8th. All over the world, particularly starting with Parkinson Canada, we'll be seeing some specific images there. And let me say that Parkinson's is progressive. We all know that. And at this stage of the game, we don't yet have a cure. I'm sure hopeful there will be a cure. But it made me get focused and write my philosophy of life. So I'll share it with you. Parkinson's reminds me how precious life is. And I'm aware of my diminishing time and energy to get things done. So I've gotten rid of negative people in my life. And I focus on today and what I can leave behind. And if I hear good music playing, you can be sure I'll be dancing to it. Parkinson's can't stop me from dancing. Let's see the next slide with the little video clip. It can play. Thank you. And I'll just do a little dance for you right now. Hope you can see. Sometimes we don't have the music playing, so I play it in my head. And I always have music, good music playing in the back of my mind, especially if I feel low energy. I play upbeat music. If I'm feeling a little bit stressed, I play quiet, relaxing music. But I have good news. I have very good news. Well, firstly, I saw my neurologist recently for my biannual checkup, and it's been over 2.5 years, and there's been no PD progression. Yes! And I'm not sure what, but I think a combination of the things that the people spoke about in that in the video clips before my presentation, being involved with your community, involving yourself in getting information, being your own advocate, and keeping involved in living life fully. So that makes for a full and happy life. Thank you. And over to you, Donna.
Thank you so much, Barbara. I absolutely love how you keep finding new and creative ways to inform and inspire people around the globe and help reduce Parkinson's stigma with your art. Now we're going to meet some more members of the Parkinson's community. We'll start with Get Loud, Stay Loud participant David and program founder Sarah. We will then meet Mike and Doug from our peer mentor program. U-Turn Parkinson's Golden Gloves boxing participant Blair and coach Jordana, support group members and facilitator Charles and Mike, who are both also in the Rigid Riders cycling group, followed by Shannon from Parkinson Canada's support and information team. Welcome, everyone.
I've been involved with Get Loud, Stay Loud for about 10 months now, and it's become one of the foundations to my my Parkinson's treatments. And it's been a great experience for me because, and actually I wish I had stumbled across this before I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, because my speech has gotten much louder and clearer, and my singing voice has actually improved. Uh, with Kirsten's classes on Wednesdays. I'm fortunate being in the time zone that I'm in, because it's a great way to start my day, because most of the classes, the live classes, are early in the day for me, and the recorded classes, which is a benefit as well, because all the classes are recorded and you can go back and redo ones that you might have had trouble with, or do ones that you've missed at your own time schedule. So, and I've gained a lot of confidence in a group, in speaking in group settings, and people that I ask about whether they can hear me in the group or not have told me that they haven't had any problem hearing me. So, and that's probably the first time in my life, which is kind of odd considering, the effects of Parkinson's.
That's great. That when we started this program over 5 years ago, that was one of our missions, is to make it accessible to as many people as possible, not just across Canada, but across the world, if anyone wants to join. And just hearing Dave say these things is just wonderful, because it's not only accessible, it's flexible and creates a sense of community, so that individuals with Parkinson's, no matter where they're living, they can come together online and have that support and that motivation to do regular voice and speech exercise. The research talks a lot about physical exercise and the benefits of doing really intense physical exercise, but that people are starting to really recognize the importance of doing speech and voice exercise on a regular basis is wonderful to see. And I think Dave is just an example of that, and the benefits that he's receiving.
One of the great things you mentioned is the community. And one of the best parts about the live classes is being able to jump on a little bit early or stay on a little bit late and catch up with folks from all over Canada, the US, and some in the world, elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, I think the community is key. It's the magic behind the program.
I joined the Parkinson Canada peer matching program, I guess about July of this year. matched up with a young man named Doug McEwen, and he lives in Nova Scotia and I live in Ontario. So we've been getting to know each other's hometowns and having a good old time. It's been kind of a whirlwind of a year for us in our family. I retired, I guess, a year ago. We moved in July. As I said, got the diagnosis for Parkinson's in January this year. So it's just been a crazy whirlwind, and new communities and what have you. But it's been just a pleasure to meet and get to know Doug, because he certainly can relate to things I'm going through. And as I said, many friends in the community, but no one like Doug. Doug is a pretty special guy. He's willing to share from his heart. We talk about everything and anything. And if you ask me what we talked about, I couldn't tell you. But we certainly get along and enjoy the conversation. And boy, oh boy, it's certainly been so beneficial to be part of the peer group with Doug, because I've got lots of friends and acquaintances and community, which is just a blessing. But I don't have a Doug. He's just something else. Yeah, he's had Parkinson's a lot longer than myself, and we're able to just shoot the breeze like we're brothers for a long time. So it's been very good. And we kind of have an unwritten rule that there's no complaining when we're talking to each other, because that's kind of just a waste of time anyway. So we enjoy that, and we try and stick to that as much as possible. I think that's about it.
Yep, I have to fully agree with what Mike says about the mentorship program. I've been in it for about 2 years now. Mike and I get together about once a month on the phone, talk about everything, including Parkinson's, and our enjoyment with traveling, sports, and everything else. It's beneficial for him, beneficial for me. We don't focus on anything but enjoyment, no complaining. I fully recommend it for others. It reminds us that we're a community across the country. He's in Ontario, I'm in Nova Scotia, but it's just like being side by side. So I would recommend anybody that wants to give it a try, sign up and give it a go.
I've been with U-Turn Parkinson's now in the boxing program and the power stretch program and the Tai Chi program. And it's been really awesome. For boxing, it teaches you, not only do you box, but you're also learning moves that help you with everyday life, like for sitting up and for standing and all those things. So that part has been really good. This again.
You have some community here as well.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of community here, a lot of people that I'm friends with, I see outside of the gym. Has been actually, like when I'm having a bad day, I just gotta look around me, and it just makes you feel good to see everybody pushing forward that has the same thing as you, having their different good times and bad times, and you get to enjoy when someone's doing really well, and you sort of help them out when they're not feeling well, and you talk to each other and give each other positive reinforcement. And Jordana's been an awesome coach. Like, she really cares about the people in the community, and we love her for it.
Yeah, we are pleased to offer programming 6 days a week at U-Turn Parkinson's during the day, evenings, and weekends. We have something for everyone here, all levels of ability, whether you love boxing and want to join us for our boxing program, or prefer Tai Chi, power stretch, or just a regular strength and conditioning workout. We have something for everyone. Everyone's welcome here. And we hope that you can find community like Blair has, find people who understand what you're going through, that you can connect to, find resources, learn, so that we can all kind of manage the disease together and live well.
I've been a facilitator for about 10 years with Parkinson Canada. Why did I do it? I'm not sure. I got someone asked, and I guess I have the personality for it, I think. The idea of being part of something, and I like to coordinate things, I guess. But the young and early onset bunch, which I'm out aged now, but oh well, I'll keep with them anyways. They've been a good group to be with. Everyone that comes to you have their own reasons for coming, but you want for them to come across and step out of themselves, because a lot of people haven't even met someone else with Parkinson's and they've been diagnosed all of a sudden. And so getting into support groups is good, I find, because you can talk it over, you know you're not alone on it. And
I think that's one of the big things, Mike, is not feeling alone. And I think that's what I've got out of the group. It's not necessarily that I go with the group, but all the time in all the meetings, but it's knowing that someone's there with you. They're there, they're going through the grind, the daily grind, and just meeting these people and seeing how they make it through their days. I think that's one of the biggest things that I got out of the support group.
yeah, exactly. The idea of sharing is a nice thing too. And by any means, like I like that you said that you don't go or do it all the time. Yeah, I always tell people that join the group that you're not expected to show up at the meeting every time. You're not expected to show up. You don't let the meeting become something that stresses you out.
Right.
Stress and
Come if you can.
Parkinson's don't work.
Yeah.
And through the social engagement of just being together as people and meeting each other, and you get out to meeting with your wives, hopefully, and we've got a group that spans all of Canada almost, but we have people up in Montreal and stuff, and I met a lot of them and through our cycling groups and stuff.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
Just as Ottawa.
I'm a co-captain of the Rigid Riders with Steve Eisman and Rick Savanto, and we're a GTA Parkinson's group that we meet on Sundays in the summer, and we get ready for the 40K ride at Pedaling for Parkinson's at the end of it all. That's a very fun thing to do. And that, again, we get a lot of people involved and come out that think they couldn't do it, and they can.
Get involved. You just reaching out and getting involved is one of the best things that I'd like to stress about that, the group. If I could stress one thing, that's it.
Oh, it's stress.
Too much stress.
No stress. That makes me a good facilitator, I guess. I'm a happy guy most of the time, and I'd rather be cheering you up instead of going down bad holes that people do. And
you do a great job.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shannon Harrison, and I'm a member of the support and information team here at Parkinson Canada. I wanted to tell you a little bit more about my team and how we can be a valuable member of your community. So my team answers live calls and voice messages and emails from across Canada, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. People who reach out to us are people living with Parkinson's, care partners, and maybe a family member, could be a friend, and also healthcare professionals. Our goal is to help you understand the diagnosis and symptoms, to provide you with information and support, and also to connect you with community resources. For example, we can connect you to in-person or virtual support groups, exercise classes, other wellness classes. We could also connect you with a physiotherapist or a speech language pathologist who has expertise in Parkinson's. And there's many other resources. We want to support you every step of the way, from your first symptoms to receiving that diagnosis to coping with the various stages and challenges in Parkinson's. So you can reach us by phone or email. Our phone number is 1-888-664-1974. And our email is support@parkinson.ca. And Donna's going to show that in the next slide. So if you didn't catch that, it'll be in the next slide. So if you have any questions regarding Parkinson's information or community resources, please contact us. We would love to help you and give you the support that you need. Thank you.
Thanks so much to you and everyone on the team, Shannon. I know it was up just briefly, but the contact information for our support and information team is being put into the chat window, and it will also be in our follow-up email. Thank you so much to Barbara and the members of the Parkinson's community who shared their stories with us today about the people in your circles of support and how empowering yourselves by helping others in the community benefits not only them, but yourself as well. I encourage everyone who's joined us today to do an inventory of who is in your circle and who could be added to that circle. Taking the time to practice gratitude can help reduce blood pressure and heart rate, improve your breathing, and reduce your stress levels. So if you've got someone who supports you on your journey, think about reaching out and saying thank you. Practicing gratitude for just a few minutes a day doesn't come naturally to everyone. The Greater Good in Action team at UC Berkeley developed an easy to use tool called 3 Good Things that guides you in a daily 10-minute activity, focusing on the good in your life and the positive feelings that come with it. I also encourage you to think about who you could add to your circle of care. Is there a person in your family or community you could reach out to, or a program you could join that you haven't yet? Apathy and depression can be part of your Parkinson's symptoms, meaning you may not be motivated to make those connections. But efforts to insulate yourself from discomfort can also lead to isolating yourself, and that's detrimental to your own physical, cognitive, and emotional wellness. If you don't know where to start, please have that discussion with your healthcare provider and reach out to a member of Parkinson Canada's support and information team. Team members not only lend sympathetic ears and provide you with resources, they can help you find or build your own circle of care in your own neighborhoods or online. So watch your email inboxes for our follow-up email that will include a link to a recording of this webinar, resources mentioned here today, and the contact information for the support and information team. We also invite you to join our next webinar on Wednesday, March 19th from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, where we'll be discussing the unique symptoms and challenges of women affected by Parkinson's. Watch your email inboxes for more details and a registration link. And finally, when the webinar window closes, please take a moment to fill out our very short survey. It helps us to plan programming that's relevant to you. On behalf of all of us at Parkinson Canada, I want to thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope to see you next month.